Today, we are going to take two of the most beloved mad scientist animatronics and we're going to clash them head to head. Let's talk about this. So today we are going to be continuing the Which is Better series. And today I thought we would touch up on a genre that in my opinion does not get the love and appreciation it deserves. It is a genre that does not always get a lot of animatronics to it, and when it does, sadly the detail on the animatronics and the features just don't quite live up to these two expectations that we are going to be talking about today. And those two animatronics I wanted to talk about are going to be the Evil Scientist and Dr. Shivers. Now, considering that these are completely two polar opposite generational differences, I do not want to simply talk about the overall structures of the animatronics to try and compare which one is better. However, I do have a list here that I want to go over when it comes to these animatronics because I do believe it is a fair shot on both sides. That is the physical makeup, the voice, the features, the movements, and the lighting systems. And at the very end, I'm going to give my final thoughts on these animatronics and tell you all which one, in my personal opinion, is better. Now, based off of simple facts and simple personal opinion alone, we are going to see which animatronic will reign superior, considering the fact that they are both mad scientists and they are very well known in the community. But the winner at the very end will be decided not by me, but the viewers alone. So at the end of this, based off the facts that you hear, you will decide which one wins in the comments below. So without any further ado, let's get into this battle and let's get into the Mad Scientist Battle of 2023, the Evil Scientist versus Dr. Shivers.
I know. Let's play a game. I call it Fun with Electricity. Make yourself comfortable. You're going to be here for a while.
Oh, good. You're just in time for my experiment. Now lie down and give me your soul! Don't worry about my mask. I'm not going to hold you up. I'm just going to hold you down!
Now, what do you think of when you hear mad scientist? That's my question I want to ask the viewer. However, it's one thing I want the viewer to be able to take and apply to both mad scientist animatronics. Now, looking at both mad scientist animatronics, I do personally believe, in my personal opinion, that Dr. Shivers fits the mad scientist stereotype the best. The creativity of the evil scientist is a lot different compared to that nostalgic kind of typical mad scientist look. But looking at both mad scientists, I could definitely point out the physical makeup and the features are completely different from one another. Dr. Shivers has that typical mad scientist look. He has the white electrifying hair, he has the black goggles on the top of his head, he also has a round beaker in his hand that glows green. He also has the white lab coat with the black gloves, a black belt, and big, long black leather boots. Along with that, he also has the typical old man looking face, making him pretty much the typical nostalgic and stereotype mad scientist that you would see in maybe horror movies. Now, comparing Dr. Shivers to the Evil Scientist, this is a lot more different. The Evil Scientist has straight black hair that's only around the sides of his head. On top of that, he also has blood spatter all over his coat, unlike Dr. Shivers, with an apron on. On top of that, he does also come with the typical black gloves and the black boots. And along with the physical features of the face, comparing it to Dr. Shivers, he has sharp teeth with more of like a gray, dark, pale skin. Now, again, when I personally think of mad scientist, I think kind of more something on the side of Dr. Shivers. However, that does not mean that a mad scientist would not look like this. In my personal opinion, this guy kind of looks more like a World War II or maybe like 1940s kind of evil German scientist that did a lot of experimentation back in his day. But he definitely looks a little more sinister in the face with the sharp teeth, but it's kind of cliche to give him sharp teeth. But in my personal opinion, Dr. Shivers fits that nice nostalgic feeling of an evil scientist. However, that's not up to me to decide. We will leave the facts there, and I will let you all decide in the comments below which part or which portion of each animatronic you like the most and which one fits the best when it comes to physical makeup. Next comes the voice.
I know. Let's play a game. I call it Fun with Electricity.
You're just in time for my experiment. Now lie down and give me your soul!
Now, the voice of both animatronics are completely polar opposites. And when it comes down to Dr. Shivers, he has the old man crazy scientist voice. When it comes down to the evil scientist, he kind of sounds a little more German, in my personal opinion. And it kind of fits a different era of mad scientist. When it comes down to Dr. Shivers, he fits the typical evil monster 1950s evil scientist that was probably trying to reanimate a corpse. And he has that very like old man kind of screamo voice that is very loud, and he has the perfect evil scientist laugh. Unlike the evil scientist from Spirit Halloween, the Spirit Halloween evil scientist has kind of more of a German-like accent, and he has a nice evil laugh. However, it does not fit the typical evil scientist profile. Both comparing the evil laughs and the voices of both evil scientists are completely opposite, but they both fit a really good profile of evil scientists, maybe just in different universes, making both evil scientists pretty well off when it comes down to their voice and overall vocals. Features is one of the smallest aspects, but yet one of the coolest aspects that bring out the personality of an animatronic. And when I say small features, I'm talking about the things that got added to an animatronic that were completely unnecessary, but yet were definitely worth making it last minute. But besides that, both animatronics feature their own small little features and allow for both animatronics to be able to bring out their own personalities. Dr. Shivers has the goggles on top of his head that can be adjusted to your own liking. On top of that, he also has a beaker in his hand that some, I would even say, would say fill with water, even though I don't even think that's a possibility. However, he does have the nice green stains on the inside of the glass to make it look like he has some kind of toxic liquid in his hand. With that, it also lights up, and also you can hear it bubbling when he turns on in some of his phrases. However, with the evil scientist, some of the coolest features, in my personal opinion, is the mask. The mask, after he finishes talking, always comes down, and it's a feature that we've never seen on another animatronic since. However, I do personally believe that this makes him kind of feel more like an evil surgeon or like an evil butcher more than anything. But the one thing I do like about this animatronic that he has that many other animatronics don't is that there have been many instances where people have been able to put objects in his hand to make him fit their theme perfectly. They can have him hold an axe, a head, or some other type of prop that they would personally choose and put on his hands, making that feature pretty cool and allowing him to be a little more customizable compared to Dr. Shivers. However, both feature some really cool small extra features, and it's honestly up to you whether or not you think Dr. Shivers or the evil scientist does reign superior. Movements would have to be another major aspect that many different kinds of consumers look for when it comes down to the personality of an animatronic. Now, both animatronics share really cool, awesome movement aspects. So let's look at Dr. Shivers. Dr. Shivers had really nice smooth head movement. He also had a really nice mouth movement. On top of that, the most realistic aspect of him was the fact that his eyes moved while he was turning his head and talking, making him probably more realistic than many other animatronics out there. However, the evil scientist had head movement, had the mask movement. Also, he had mouth movement. It wasn't as noticeable, but it was there. And he also had, in my personal opinion, one of my favorite features, torso movement. Torso movement is really nice, and it brings out the personality of an animatronic very well. However, I do believe the eye movement brings the realistic factor out in an animatronic, making Dr. Shivers probably top the evil scientist on that. But the evil scientist has his own aspects that Dr. Shivers does not, and Dr. Shivers has his own aspects that the evil scientist doesn't, making both of these two clash, in my personal opinion, to decide who would have the best movement features. However, the evil scientist and Dr. Shivers still both have their own great movement systems that bring out their personality. The lighting system of a Halloween animatronic is the most important aspect. Many people would honestly drop movement systems for the lighting effects of an animatronic when it comes down to Halloween. And when it comes down to both mad scientists, one, in my personal opinion, would probably reign supreme over the other. However, I'm not going to put my personal opinion out there just yet. Dr. Shivers came with two different kinds of really awesome lighting systems. His beaker lit up while he was holding it every time he was activated. On top of that, his eyes would light up while electricity would sound off in the background of every phrase that he would say. And on top of that, it was programmed to be able to go along with the electric shocks instead of just constantly lighting up, making the lighting system, in my personal opinion, pretty well crafted from Jimmy back in the early 2000s. Now, with the mad scientist, or the evil scientist from Spirit Halloween, sadly, he only had the eye system, the eye movement system. And those eyes would glow up every time he would talk. And they would shut off every time he was done talking. Sadly, it is a little boring on the evil scientist side, but also the lighting system isn't everything to everybody. So you could honestly make the debate that even though the evil scientist does not have the best lighting system, he still has a lot of personality. But Dr. Shivers definitely has a lot more lighting systems than the evil scientist does that was sold at Spirit Halloween. Now, my overall personal opinion. In my personal opinion, both animatronics brought some really cool nostalgic aspect. I think that the evil scientist from Spirit Halloween fits a really cool kind of German-like evil scientist, maybe back in World War II, near to how dark that might be. But he does kind of have more of a German-like, I guess you could say, accent than Dr. Shivers. However, I love the nostalgic and the more kind of classic feeling of what Dr. Shivers brings. When I personally think of mad scientist, I think of an evil scientist that looks almost remarkably like Dr. Shivers. I think of electricity sparking. I think of crazy white hair. I think of the white lab coat, the black long gloves with a beaker in hand. He fits the profile perfectly. Not to mention, he sounds like a psychotic, kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs kind of evil scientist that many would assume would be in an evil lab in a couple floors down below ground. The evil scientist that we see at Spirit Halloween, I think fits a really nice kind of butcher kind of evil scientist theme. Probably somebody who would be more into cutting up corpses than Dr. Shivers. Dr. Shivers I see as somebody who would try to reanimate corpses, while the evil scientist from Spirit would be more into cutting up corpses. Mainly just because the clothing overall, in my personal opinion, on the evil scientist kind of makes him look more like a butcher than anything else. Now, this is not biased talking. This is just simply what I would personally look for in a mad scientist. However, both fit profiles perfectly, and I think they both have their own separate personality traits that make them probably fit the evil scientist, I guess you could say, stereotype almost perfectly in different sections. However, in my personal opinion, I would personally reign Dr. Shivers supreme over the evil scientist, not because of features alone, but because he has the overall nostalgic feeling of what a mad scientist should be. But I do want to know what you all want to say in the comments below and what you all think. It is perfectly fine if you think the evil scientist is better than Dr. Shivers. I have no beef with you if you do. I think that the evil scientist is a really good addition to the Spirit Halloween trilogy that has been released many years. And I think that the evil scientist is a very popular animatronic that many people loved, and also brought back a really good nostalgic feeling for the mad scientist kind of character. But without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here. If you all did like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. I always try to upload weekly, and I never try and disappoint you all. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. This is Jimmy Bones signing off. I will talk to you guys in the next video. See ya.